Welcome to Smart Finance 360, the podcast where money matters meet innovative thinking. Every week, we dive deep into the world of finance, exploring trends, debunking myths, and bringing you the latest insights from industry experts. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a financial newbie, or somewhere in between, this is your go-to source for becoming financially savvy. All right, welcome to another podcast. I'm excited about this one. We got Rachel Child here. She is a Pilates instructor, a mother, entrepreneur, a health coach, and we're going to dive into all these questions for her because I think what's awesome about her is a lot of mothers out there, you know, they have kids and they still have aspirations. They still have things that they want to do with their lives, and she's been able to do that to the fullest. Killing two birds with one stone, I'd say, is doing stuff she enjoys, but also making money doing it as well. So, Rachel, tell me kind of a little bit of your background of how you got into not only being a Pilates instructor, but just health in general. What was the timeline? How did it work out for you to become one?
Yeah. Okay. So I think just a tiny background. In high school, I had my first nutrition class, and that's where the spark was lit for health. And I would come home and constantly tell my family everything I'd learned, and they got
in your health class?
sick of it. But that ripple effect just slowly kept growing. And in college, I was actually an art major for a long time, and I had a conversation with a friend, told me about exercise science. A year or two later, I switched majors, and my husband's like, "What are you going to switch to?" And I was like, "Exercise science. It just feels like my jam." And I did, and it's just been a journey ever since then. So Pilates came about after my third baby, when I was really over the gym, and lifting really heavy was triggering my nervous system
Really?
in not a good way. So I put the kibosh on the gym, tried a Pilates class, was sucked in after one or two sessions, and decided to get certified 6 months later. And it's been the perfect little side gig as a mom of four. And it's also just made my life better. I am a big outdoors person. So mountain biking has been better since doing Pilates. My snow skiing is so much better. I just feel stronger as a whole.
Yeah, so Pilates basically changed your life on just a personal level for your health.
Yeah.
And then you were able to monetize it by you now teach it and you make money on it. But what's fun is when you're working, I feel like the happiest people when they make money, it's they're super happy when they're actually liking what they're doing. So that's huge for you. And then also I wanted to talk about this with mothers. My wife has 4 kids as well, and having kids is a full-time job on top of all the mothers that have full-time jobs. They're working 80 to 100 hours a week, right?
Yes.
So sometimes they lose themselves as far as my wife was telling me. She's like, I'm very competitive. I have a lot of goals and aspirations I want to do. Right now I feel like I have to race the clock on cleaning something. I'm competing against how quickly I could clean the kitchen from yesterday to today and stuff like that. And so
totally,
it's tough. So for you, that's awesome. How can you what inspired you to just say, hey, I'm going to go out and do this, and I'm going to go out and, because you don't have time. You just don't.
No,
you're making time.
You have to make time.
Work. So what did you do to just be like, I'm going to become a Pilates instructor and I'm going to go out and do this?
I think first I have to give credit to my husband. Before we ever had kids, I said, you can't let me lose myself in being a mom. And I know it's great and it's a fabulous endeavor, and I wouldn't give my kids up for anything, but I'm still a person with desires and goals and wants. And I said, you've got to help me get out on mountain bike rides. And that's kind of where it started. And he's always been one to support whatever I want to do. And so when I said, I think I want to get certified, he's like, hey, let's figure it out. Let's do it. And
that's really cool. How do you get certified? Do you have to go to school, take tests? How does it work?
Yeah. So I went through Balance Body. It's a Pilates company. They make reformers and sell all the equipment. And there's a gal in Salt Lake. Her name's Trish Kaiser, and she's fantastic. If you've ever wanted her.
Shout out.
Yeah. I went and trained with her, and a training looks like I started with mat, which is very basic, and it's three-day weekends, 6 to 8 hours every day. So you're really
dedicated if you want to do this.
You have to be a little dedicated, yes. And then you've got to teach for a little while and get experience. And then I went back and did reformer, which was another three-day weekends. So lots of support from my husband at home, and I just knew I needed an out, and I needed to keep growing and evolving in my own way, even if it's small and in little bouts. Right now as a mom, I just feel like keeping your identity is so important.
Yeah, I think it's huge that, your kids, you are their hero. So they see you every day. So being able to, follow your identity of what you want to do, I think it's inspiring. It's awesome. And I think you're an inspiration for a lot of moms that might be listening to this, or if they have any ideas that they want to follow and go for it, just go for it. I think think that's awesome that you did Pilates to start out. And now we're going to go into more about kind of there's two ripple effects, right? We got the ripple effects of how Pilates can help your health, but we also have the ripple effects of how Pilates was kind of a foundation for you to go to do different avenues that you like to do. It opened up opportunities for you to do other things.
Yeah.
So first, let's talk about kind of the ripple effects of kind of how Pilates has helped you, and not only just with mountain biking, but overall, what does it do for your mental and physical health?
So I think first and foremost, when I found Pilates, not only was it helping pull my abs and everything tighter after a baby, but it also was such a steady, slow movement that involves a lot of breath work in between that it really helped my nervous system find a very happy space. So that deep inhale, deep exhale as you move through different moves was so beneficial for me mentally, for me physically. So that helped me find a really great center. And then as far as other benefits and how it's rippled into what I'm doing now, I think the fact that this has just always been who I am, like health has always just been like a passion. It's really easy to broaden that horizon and let it take other avenues, which it is, which we're excited about. So
Yeah, tell me about that. I mean, the next ripple effect you have is Pilates and all that stuff opened some doors and avenues. You're doing some health coaching now. Let's go into that. What's the projects you're working on or things you're doing now on top of Pilates?
yeah, so I have a few private clients. That's been good. And then I started an Instagram page with my sister-in-law, Amanda, and
What's called?
it's called Rach and Amanda.
Rach and Amanda, follow.
Look us up. We kind of started out with vitamins. After my fourth baby, I tanked physically in a different way and found a supplement company that was a game changer for me across the board. And I wish every woman would realize the benefit of a good supplement in their life.
Yeah,
How it bridges the gap
I think
between what
it's
you're
true.
eating.
My wife's going through that exact experience right now, so I'm gonna have to definitely connect her with you. I'm not even kidding you. Like literally, like this morning, I was in the kitchen and there's boxes and boxes of vitamins and stuff, and she's going to doctor. She's trying to figure it out because it was after our fourth child as well. She's just like, I can't. I think she mentioned the nervous system. She's like, I just can't get this back. So she's trying yoga. And I want to introduce her to Pilates, actually, because this sounds very similar.
Yes.
But that's very interesting. Tell me a little bit about the vitamins and kind of how that helped you. And, we may not have to go in depth on all the science. That could be a totally separate episode.
Totally.
But give me some examples of how that helped you and helped you with your health.
So I think making humans, using your body to create a human, they take a lot from your base level. And a lot of people, when we eat food, it's great, but we don't always eat the right food to feed us on a deep cellular level. And that's where the magic happens. And so if you're not really feeding your cells, if you're not feeding your microbiome and all of those deep things, you're not going to function optimally like you want to. And I found myself going to different doctors, trying different supplements. And there are lots of things out there. It's hard to know what to take.
So much. It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's needed because it's a
needed.
ripple effect for your finances as well. Because if you can't figure this out now, it's going to be detrimental in the future. It could be so much more expensive in the future. So that's great that you found that avenue to kind of pair out. It was like dynamite for you to pair up Pilates with nutrition, health.
Yes.
And it helps everything with, your work-life balance. Speaking of work-life balance, how do you have a work-life balance with having kids? And how do you team up with your husband? What's kind of advice you have for people that want to go out and do something, but obviously both spouses are very busy? What's kind of your guys' strategy? How have you guys made that work?
I would have to say balance is hard. I think people think that there's this great formula for balance. And quite frankly, I feel like you're either juggling some balls and some are dropping, or you're juggling others. So figure out, what are your glass balls? What are the few balls you cannot drop? And then drop, if you really want to go after something, drop the ones that can be dropped. Drop let go of what you can let go of, because it was just so important to me to keep evolving and moving forward that I just had to prioritize it. I feel like you have time for what you make time for. So when someone says, I don't have time for the gym, I'm like, well, you're just not making time for it. And that's okay. You're prioritizing something else.
Another ball.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you really want to make that a thing, you'll make time. If you want to make room in your budget for a new supplement or for Pilates, you'll make it work.
I think a lot of times too, if people actually looked at their bank statements and on their finances, because that's what we've done, like we've scaled back because some of these vitamins could perceived as expensive, but it's really not when we're not going to Chick-fil-A 3 times a week, or we're not we eat out quite a bit, and it's interesting how much just looking at not only your budget, but looking at nutrition of like, okay, what can I get at the grocery store and meal plans?
Mhm.
And I think it's really helpful to have a health coach to help you with those meal plans, help you with the right vitamins.
Yeah.
What's kind of your process for some of these clients that you go through just on a, not really high level, just high level stuff. We don't have to go in specifics maybe another time because I don't want to like sell your business secrets, but just like kind of how does it work with a client? Let's use my wife as an example that's had a fourth baby. She's really having a hard time figuring just her nervous system out.
Yeah.
Right now hers is alignment. So like her hips as well it's really tough for her. Before what she did was they just put some insoles in her shoe and that wasn't healing anything. When she was walking, it helped, but then she took it out and I think after that had more of a worse effect. But what's kind of the process of how do you evaluate people and how do you get them, not only through the door, but starting to help them?
Yeah. So first it's that conversation. How can I help you? Because I feel like I've gathered a lot of tools in my tool belt over the years, and I have a lot of resources that have worked for me, but also I've got to know, what are your pain points? Where are you really struggling at? And let's take your wife, for example.
Yeah.
I would totally be recommending certain vitamins, and I would probably be recommending a therapist I go to that aligns my hips as well.
Amazing.
And helps. Yes.
This is the best podcast ever. I can help my wife. This is incredible.
There would be lots.
Her name's Rachel, by the way. So it's
Okay, cool. It's meant to be.
in heaven.
We should be friends.
Yes.
So there's lots of things that I have tried, and I feel like I have a lot of tools because I'm willing to try a lot of things. I feel like I kind of live off of the precept of what if this weird thing worked, and what if it made my life better, and what if I was stronger because of it? So
It's crazy how your life changes just with that mindset.
yes.
I like how I have evolved or elevated on the board about kind of things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's a very elevated question, I think, that you tell yourself. It's very cool.
Yeah, especially when you're in a healing space and you're looking for answers, don't ever close any door, because you never know what door has opened that's really meant for you. So what if something really worked? You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain by trying. You really don't.
That's great. I mean, this is phenomenal. I think this is a good podcast to not only inspire mothers that want to go out and follow their dreams and do the things and that they can do these things, but also the importance of not only just nutrition and health. It's crazy. I've had other nutritionists and other people on that I've talked, and finances and nutrition should be hand in hand, I think.
They should be hand in hand.
I really do think they should be hand in hand, because when I'm feeling good, like when I miss a workout in the morning, I'm just kind of anxious. I'm a little bit more I'm not as good as I would be for my meetings or have a good presentation.
Yes.
But when I get through my routine in the morning and I worked out and I know I had a great workout, my presentation's way better. I feel better. I'm not as anxious. So if there's things that happen, and I'm an entrepreneur as well, so there's things that happen throughout the day that may be reactionary and I can't control, like all the time. But if I'm in a good headspace and health-wise, I can react so much better to those. And I've noticed in the past, if I don't get my ducks in a row, don't do the things I need to do, affects the way I'm with my kids,
100%.
affects the way I'm at work. So I really think I don't understand sometimes with schooling. I feel like there should be very much hand in hand on how health can affect your finances, because I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah. And the tiny habits that you set up, like making sure you exercise, which that can look different for everyone. Sometimes it's the gym, it's Pilates. Sometimes it's a really good walk first thing in the morning. But those tiny habits will set you up for success or failure. And you get to choose, like, what habits are you aligning with? Is it, I'm going to work out, and when I work out, I crave better food. That just is a repercussion of it. I think that kind of goes for most people. So then that's a lot easier of a choice. I can make better food choices when I move my body. And all of that gives me a more clear mind, more energy, more strength. It's the ripple effect of a good habit.
Yeah.
Cannot be understated.
It's crazy. I mean, that reminds me of one of the coolest stories I've seen when I went to the gym years ago. I saw a guy that just came for like 5 minutes every day, and I was just curious. He's like, honestly, he had a health coach at the time. He's like, if I just show up every day for 5 minutes, I don't want to be here at all. He's like, but if I just show up, he's like, that's the first thing. And then basically he would just show up, walk on a treadmill for like 2 minutes, do like one machine. It's like, doing that's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
Fast forward 3 years later, guy lost like 100 pounds. He was the most dedicated guy I saw all the time, and he was shredded. And I was like, it was crazy to me when I see him. I'm like, I wish I knew your name. I'd love to get you on my podcast, because he would literally, it would be 5:30 in the morning. He'd just show up. I'd see him on the treadmill. I'd see him do one workout and leave every day.
Yeah.
But then after a while, he's there for 15 minutes. Now he's 20 minutes. Now he's there for an hour. And just steady Eddie, consistent. So it's
because he started to feel good and
Yes.
it started to be worth his time to be there.
yes.
Like a good habit doesn't just, oh, I have this habit, it's great. Like it does take patience. It does take showing up on repeat before it's ingrained and becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Well, we're going to wrap this up. And the last question I always like to ask is just how can we get a hold of you? What's, good YouTube or Instagram or website? What's the best way to get a hold of you, Rachel?
So right now, best way is at Rach and Amanda. It's our Instagram page. That's where we're going. We're building out other things, have lots of ideas, but that's a good drop spot at the moment. So hit us
Love
up.
it. That's the best way. And I was watching some of your videos. You got great videos, even just with like how to do certain things in Pilates. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Thanks for having us on. We'll get you on another time to talk about specifics on some other things I think would be great.
I love it.
Great guest. Thanks,
Yep.
Rachel.
Thanks.